Welcome back to Mangusto Garage. Things are about to get very serious with this old thing. So she's a good old solid bus, but that 3.9 V6 in there just isn't cutting the mustard anymore. It's got no power, it's very tired, it's been ragged around an airfield for most of its life, and the fuel economy is as horrendous as you'd expect. So it's time for a slightly more appropriate engine. And that's where this thing comes into play. So I'm just teetering on the edge of getting this engine and box out. I won't lie, I'm pussyfooting a little bit because once I've committed, it's kind of stranded in the garage then, and I know what'll happen. Something will break on my daily runner and then I'll just have to work on it in the rain, but you know, that's how life goes, isn't it? So yeah, I think plan of attack is get it in service mode, take the front panel off, get all that off and fish it out the back. I might give it an oil flush before I do that, do a few little odds and sods, and then while it's still running, and yeah, time to rip into it. Right, well, this is the engine ready to pluck out. Hopefully it's going to just slip out nice and easily. Doubt it. There's only one lifting eye on it. There's lifting eye on the front of the engine, no lifting eye on the back of the engine. So I've got a trolley jack under the back of the gearbox, and hopefully I'll just kind of slide it forward a bit, enough to get a strop around the bell housing, and link it up to the crane there. Try and pull it out the front. See, I've got the slam panel off. It's a great thing about BMWs front ends. They just unbolt, nice and easy. So yeah, see how this goes. Okay, as you can see, all manner of sketchy shit went on getting that out, but you know, 25 odd years of lifting CNC machines around kind of teaches you what you can and can't get away with. So she's out on a nice long pallet. Perfect pallet for the job, actually. Yeah, what I would like to do is pick up on the back here somewhere and make some, there's a lifting point there, but the thing is, without a spreader, you get a strop round it, but without a good spreader between the front lifting point and the back, you're going to crush like the fuel pressure sensor that probably is there. Yeah, you're going to get all manner of issues. So yeah, I shall probably make a bracket or something that will pick up on these two bolts. Sorry about the sunlight. The sun's actually out for a change, God. Yeah, so there she is. That wasn't too much of an ordeal, to be fair. Not compared to taking all the cables and wires and hoses and all sorts of crap off this thing. These 7 Series have stuff everywhere, but it was worth taking the time and making sure I had everything out, because yeah, I didn't want to rip anything out that I want to keep in pulling the engine out. So yeah, I'll call that a success. Okay, so that's the engine out. Came out really easily. No problems there. Just picking a few last bits off the shell. Stuff like fuel lines, which might come in handy. And the loom was fun to get out. Had to pull the dash out to get that, which wasn't too traumatic. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you can get standalone looms. I'm going to have to get standalone for the stuff like the gearbox, cruise control, and yeah, most likely the engine. But I thought I will keep this just in case, because, well, I just know what my luck's like, you know, the more stuff you keep, the better, really. So, yeah, time to get this rolled outside. I think the last thing I've got to do is just cut out the bit of metalwork just there that holds the throttle pedal. Just fly-by-wire plastic throttle pedal thing that clips into that. So yeah, I'll probably just cut that out, and then I can always graft it into the van later on should I need to. But yeah, when you've got a donor car like this, you can't keep too much stuff off it. Yeah, so that escalated quickly. Right, I've got the cam cover off, and to get that off you have to get the injectors out. They weren't too bad. Number 4 there, he gave me a bit of a fun time, but they came out all right, so I can't really complain there. Yeah, with the cam cover's got on it, it's got the airbox on the side with this heat shield on the bottom side of it, because it sits over the turbo manifold. I'm actually going to be cutting this whole nonsense off and running an external airbox. So that's next job as far as that's concerned. I'll probably do something a bit smart with the vortex breather there. Probably going to machine an aluminium bung to go in this section and have a breather pipe coming off the top. Reason why I have to do that is because it breathes crankcases through this thing here and into this kind of breather box here, and then it comes out this end. So if you just hack that off, you'll just end up breathing out there. So yeah, I'll pipe that off somewhere responsible, honest, Greta. Yeah, so with that off, I was able to see this mess. Exhaust gases have been escaping a little bit there, which on a van which has a doghouse box over the back of the engine over there into the cab, leaky exhausts are not good. I mean, there's a seal around the doghouse, but they're never perfect. So yeah, that wouldn't have been good. And what that was, I thought that's going to be something like a gasket or something like that. And then I did a bit of reading, and these here fabricated stainless manifolds are known for cracking. And obviously this one was cracked. You probably won't be able to, I'm just about to see it there. There you go. There's a little crack there. And it's, yeah, leaked up around the flange there. And, yeah, blew upwards there. But with all that nonsense covering it, you couldn't see that for love nor money. So, yeah, these, you can get cast iron versions, about 60 quid off eBay. Brilliant. It's a popular upgrade, as I've learnt from this vertical learning curve on this engine. Right, that's the inlet manifold all nice and cleaned up. What a mess that was in there. Whoever invented the EGR valve they belong in hell, basically. A special place in hell for people like them. Yeah, I got in there with each of these ports with the old toothbrush and a bit of geyser, and then blasted it out with the pressure washer, and that made an utter mess. But that's all cleaned up and degunked, and with the cam cover whilst I was at it, which has got this airbox section on it here, which I'm just about to cut off. So yeah, next time you see this, it should be without that. Right, there we go, all hacked off. I thought I'd leave this raised bit there just to give like the crankcase breather section here and the filler just a bit of protection, because now it'll be, well, we'll have the exhaust manifold probably about down here, but I'll still put a heat shield over that. But it's nice to have that bit of barrier there. Yeah, so it's all hacked off quite gracefully. And yeah, you can do this in situ. Harder, obviously, because it's you never get it that tidy in situ. I was lucky enough to have the engine out to do this, so yeah, it was the right time to do it. You can do it in situ, as I said. I'll stick a link somewhere. My mate Rob from Misfits Garage UK has got a really good video on doing it in situ, and he uses the breather pipe fitting that presses up into that rectangular section there, and then you bang a self-tapper through there to retain it. But as I said, I might be doing something a little bit different with this one and having the breather pipe come out the top there. So yeah, another thing ticked off the list. Yeah, next job as well is I'm going to strip the turbo, inspect it, and if I can get a rebuild kit for it, if it needs it, I'll rebuild it. If it looks mint in there, I'll just clean it up, get it back together. Obviously with this you have to mark the shaft, the nut and the impeller, so they go back on in the right place, so you'd have to rebalance it. But yeah, that's probably going to be my next job. Split that down and see what's going on in there. Yeah, the good old hot end, always harder to get apart than the cold end, obviously. Just got it going there, see a little step there. A bit more that side than I've got this side. You want to make sure you get that even as possible. Just start to hear it catch on the inside there as I've just started coming out a bit on the piss there, but that's all right. I'll get around this side and give it a beating. Careful beating with a copper mallet, and you've got to hold it by hand. Don't try and clamp that in anything. You need that shock absorption on there with your hand. You've just got to hold it and beat it in there without catching the edge of this, obviously. And a bit of heat helps, bit of map gas just around these edges. Marked it up, of course, because you just never know. I mean, the hot end, because it's a variable vane turbo, it'll have a pin inside there. It should have a locating pin inside there, but always mark your stuff up. You just never know. So yeah, we'll get a bit more heat into this, get it off this side, and yeah, that should go off soon. So finally got the turbo apart. It's not bad condition really. I've given it a bit of a clean up in there and clean around the edge there, because that's where they always stick in the hot end housing. So that's all cleaned up. Yeah, pretty good condition. The I don't know if you can see, there's a tiny, you probably can't quite see, there's a tiny bit of scoring inside there. So I should probably get at least a simple rebuild kit with the bearing collar and the little piston ring style seals. So I'll get that on order and get that back together. Okay, that's the turbo core all built up. Little punch marks realigned. Yeah, nice little kit from Turbo Rebuild Limited. Not paid advertising, unfortunately. I wish they sponsor us, that'd be cool. But yeah, they were very helpful. I told them what the model number of the turbo was, and they were able to point me to the exact kit I needed. So yeah, just the hot and cold end housings and all the vanes to line up to go on next, but that's a nice step forward nonetheless. Just as a little side note on these, I think it's GT2260V code turbo, they're probably all the same in this range. They put a nice little drilling dimple just there to signify the alignment of the actuator ring there, where the actuator arm comes through onto the actuator ring for the vanes. So that's pretty handy to know. Right, that's the turbo all put back together again. Even gave it a little polish up on the wire wheel, so it looks bling. And I got a bit carried away and decided to paint all the stuff like the turbo actuator, drain pipe, and the support brackets for those. Why not whilst I'm there? Okay, there's our turbo all built up, ready to fit. Got a vacuum accumulator on there, and the actuator solenoid. We're going to ditch these old hoses. What I don't like about these kind of braided outer hoses is that the pipe underneath can split, and you haven't even seen it split because of all this mess on the outside. The other thing is they absorb like all of like the muck and grit and crap, so they will be getting swapped out for silicone hoses. So yeah, there we go, that's looking good. Okay, that should do it for this episode. Please like and subscribe and all that, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for tuning in.